Hi, welcome. Just want to take a little bit of time here to sit with you. And I've been away for the past couple weeks, um, away from where I usually station myself. And I was traveling during the time when they announced that the virus has hit the world. And so I got to see some things directly. And I didn't watch much of the news. I'm not one of those types of people to do that anyway. So I didn't have that influence. And I was just shining myself through the landscape, and it was an interesting experience. So this video I want to share about humility and grace during the times when something like this happens. We're all in shock. Perhaps you're still going through it because it takes a little time for it to settle in. And it's what would you say your worst science fiction movie coming true besides robots taking over the planet? A lot of people go and scare into fear, and they get scared during all this. It's easy to, you know. Uh, it really checks on where you're at with your consciousness and your neighbors too. You know, this whole thing about hoarding food and supplies, and first it was the toilet paper. It's funny. I'm a funny guy too. I like to have the humor, especially during these times. But I also like to speak like this too. That regardless of all the humor, there was something behind it. That we live in a very, very secluded, structured way of living, where we have these amenities that we rely on for our survival. And I know there's countries that don't use toilet paper. That's not what they do. There's other ways and means to, take care of that business. We're civilized, but we settled down to certain ways of living, and then when things happen like this, you see really how fragile the structure is. It's humiliating. You go to the store and you try to get some very simple supplies or just your regular food. Most people don't, live too beyond their means. I mean, there are people that do, and during these times, people will take just in fear, just in case. It's a survival mechanism. Fight and flight kicks in, and you have empty shelves when you go to the store. And it can be a humiliating thing to experience, when you try to just go in, especially if you have children, animals, if you have health issues already. And it's stressful. It's stressful for everybody at this time because, like, nobody really is perfect. Every human being is going through something psychological, mental, physical at this time in their lives anyway. That's life. Never mind when you bring something like this in. And so, to move through this time and to have grace is not the easiest thing to do. And so I invite you right now to take a good deep breath with me. So we breathe. We breathe and be present as possible. If you need to be in that way of anger, frustration, or fear, anything you're experiencing, be there. Just don't try not to stay too long. It is what it is. These experiences we choose for how we choose them to be for ourselves. And so, because we don't have a cure, it's very unstable right now, and so people are in fear because that's basically it. There's no cure, and so there's symptoms that can pop up. These symptoms of this particular virus is very common. Anyway, we're in flu season, allergy season in the northern hemisphere. It doesn't matter around the world. The allergies and the symptoms of shortness of breath, or sore throats or runny nose. Again, it's typical. It's just when it comes on, it goes real fast when it hits. So that's why it's happening. But it's not happening as much as what the world media is saying it to be. It is, but it isn't. SARS broke out 10 years ago, and the world didn't make much big deal out of that. For some reason, this is big. Why? Because this is an unknown. Science works within the cellular level. And I was doing a lot of work since May of last year and cleaning out the ancestral DNA. And there was layers removed from again within the cellular structure. And because we're in this change of consciousness, this is all part of it. Human consciousness needs to change, or the species will not survive on the planet. And we've been faced with this for a very long time. It's not news to anybody. It's just as the years go by, nothing's happened. It's just been one, this pretty much the same. There's some major changes, obviously, that's never happened on this planet with politics and religion. Again, all part of the change of consciousness. Climate change, we still have that. There's still big things happening along the seams, and all you're hearing in the news right now, of course, is the big scare of this. It's threatening the annihilation of the human race. So it's easy. It's easy to get into that fear. And again, it's humiliating. It just is. I don't care how you're looking at it. That's fine. You say you're fine in this, and you're utilizing the time and space and place within yourself to, deal with it. That's wonderful. That's great. But we're all interconnected, and there's mass consciousness, and it's heavy for people. I can feel it. Nothing's changed for me because my lifestyle for the past 4 years has been pretty much inside of a house, out into a vast landscape, where I've done a lot of work in private with one-on-one with people, and utilizing my shamanic skills and also different techniques and ways to assist people into their enlightenment. So this is a big deal that's been going on behind the scenes, and it's not being addressed in mass media. You don't see this out there. You're starting to hear it more, and I've lived long enough to see that I've seen the changing of consciousness and what I've done so far, and I've reaped the benefits of what I've done. I've continually to assist in changing for the benefit of all creatures, not just men, but all creatures we live with and many worlds that exist here along with us. And so, this virus is, they say about a year that they'll find a cure for it, and what I'm seeing now with the potential is about, first time it was last week I tapped into it, so it was about 4 months, but now I'm seeing it in about 3 months. But they have the medicines available to treat the symptoms and stuff. So if you're feeling it, first of all, don't hesitate to contact me. You're listening to this, you're feeling any kind of anxiety, stress, any kind of mental, psychological, physical issues, anything. Because it could be, the mind is a very potent thing. Humanity exists inside of a mind matrix, and everything's mental. So the mind is potent, and it can cause symptoms, it's called psychosomatic symptoms, and it can cause you to actually go through, kind of like a woman who thinks that she's pregnant, she can actually go through the stages of pregnancy and there's no baby. So the same thing that we can do. So that's that. Mind your thoughts. Again, we're all in this together, and that's why I'm making this video. I seldom make videos like this, and when the masses start doing something, Muriel goes the other way. I tend to go to and do things differently, but right now I feel like this is important for people to hear because it's my job. I'm a doctor of consciousness, and I'm here for those, especially during these times of conscious change when the shit hits the fan. And we're not just talking force majeures, which I speak of in my book Soulship, and I talk about how humanity is going to be changing greatly between 2025 and 2045, and the numbers of population and where we're going to be shifting to and all of that. So it's already underway, and I have a pretty good vantage point from where I stand, so don't hesitate to reach out to me about any questions that you have. I'm not changing how I'm doing things. I'm offering donation-based for this month right now until the shock subsides a little bit for people, but we do not change the way we're doing things. That's what I encourage everybody to do. Do not change how you're moving your money, especially because money is energy. So energy requires movement. So even if it's $10, oh, I'm never going to get that, I won't get that. No, don't. Make sure you move it. Do the best you can. And so if we all do this, it's going to work out. Things are going to shift. We've been waiting for this for a very long time. It's shifting already. Economies, the stock market, when that stops way it did, that's it, folks. All clocks stop, and we're not fooling here. So this is the big one, and we were waiting for this for a very long time. But again, it can be humiliating going through this, because it's like you're looking at people, and you might have an experience where there's a loaf of bread on the shelf, and is it you or the other person? So this is what we do. We give the shirt on our own back, because as soon as you give that away, you have 10 multiplies behind you that comes right at you. And I've been living long enough, and applying this, and receiving just like that. There's no lack. And if you're meant to experience what you experience, well, that's it right there. It's something you're doing. If you're not liking it, we can choose it. You're not destined or fated to anything, but here we are, and the mind is a potent thing. So I work outside the atomic level. I've been doing it for a very long time, so I can alleviate anything mental, psychological, physical, and again, anything of this that's going on with the virus. It's within anything within the cellular level, it's easy for me, because I'm a quantum mechanic, so I work outside, and it's new to the world. And then you might have a question going, then why don't you just go, Muriel, and be like the superwoman and go to the world? Like, there's many colleagues. There's probably a good 800, 1,000 people doing this work around the world, if not more. And that's a very small number, but there's people doing this. We hide out. We're very hush-hush about the work we do, and really it's only available to those who are able to receive it, because it has nothing to do with religion or spirituality or beliefs. But the one thing is that you got to know that you are able to create your experience. There's nothing outside the self hindering that you can take it in your own hands. And with a nice heart and compassion for yourself, you can change how you proceed during these days. If you don't get the virus and you're still subjected to stress and anxiety, financial shortcomings and all of that, again, I work with you, because I work with energy and this whole illusion of abundance and how we attract things and all of that. So I do a lot of good magic one-on-one with people, and it's deep psychotherapy, and it does alleviate a lot of that with what's going on. The stress levels, anxiety can weaken the immune system as well. So don't hesitate to contact me. My prices aren't going to change, because again, we're doing this, and it's the same thing with you. I haven't had to in the past couple weeks since this has been happening. So I'm not having to say anything really. Every now and then I get people trying to pull the card out, going, I had to leave my job, or I don't have any money. We're not going to be doing that. And I'm not like that anyway. I'm not here to save the world. I don't save anybody. I hold the space, just like all the ascended masters that came and went, and they hold the space for you to do it yourself. So you heal yourself. The healer within comes out, and I'm just there to facilitate the work for you to be able to do that for yourself. So, again, don't hesitate to ask, because you'd be surprised what happens when you really let go, get out of your own way, and you become receptive to what I have to offer to you during these times. Yeah, so, I'll be giving some messages here every now and then to help assist you. And also a stillness session, another one of those, because I offer those every few months. So I'll be doing it a little bit more recent, and I'll change and I'll do it more often. And what else? Besides, I love you, and thank you for being in this space right now with me. So stay tuned to those free stillness sessions that you can join. They're really good for the heart, and to be present in this present moment right now. It's very important to do that. It's easy. We're humans, so you have that, and you're human, so you have your mind and your thoughts and what's going to happen and the unknown, and so we sit with that, and this is what we do. Okay? So thank you so much for being here again. If you want to talk more one-on-one, it's better to do that instead of this. So much flows, so much comes out into being when we have the one-on-one conversations. Yeah. So thank you, and many blessings.